Today, I'm going to be sharing 10 fatal business mistakes that I have made all of these. And sometimes I still make them, but I try so hard not to make these because I know this is not going to help my business. All right. So stick with me. Number one, solving problems that don't exist yet. Sometimes we jump the gun, right? We think so far ahead. We have this phrase that is, I think a lot of us have heard it, and it is start with the end in mind. So instead of maybe bootstrapping something, you're like, well, if I'm going to be a $10 million entrepreneur, I should just go all in and hire this person and get my COO and all of these things. And it's just like, you're not there yet, right? But you start to solve problems that don't exist yet, right? And then what happens is you're not actually fixing the current problem because you're thinking about a future problem that's not here. That's not even here yet, right? So stay in the moment. If you catch yourself trying to be 2 or 3 steps ahead, you're not going to be able to properly fix what you're actually trying to solve. Number 2, giving up too soon. Now, I'm going to say I have done this before. I definitely have done this before, but my giving up too soon is still like a year into it of something. Like, for instance, what's coming to mind is I always think of this story. So I have a friend, and both of us were shooting for like $100,000 launch in the same month. And we both hit 20,000. And I was like, oh, that didn't work. And she was like, oh, I must have done my messaging wrong, or I must have done this wrong. And she kept going. And she blew that same product into a multiple 7-figure a year program. And that product that I had that was 20,000 isn't here anymore because I just gave up too soon. And I thought, oh, it's the product. But it was just me not trying it more, trying it again, doing it better, right? So don't give up too soon. Now, I don't mean like something in a couple days, right? Sometimes we're doing something for a few months and we think, oh, this is just too hard. I've done everything I can. You have not done everything you can. I promise you that. There's no way. There's no way I've done everything I can. There's no way you've done everything you can. Show me a problem you're trying to fix in your business, and I will show you like 7 different ways you haven't done yet, right? It is impossible. Which is good news, because if you're ever feeling down, if you're ever feeling like, why is this so hard? Or I'm never going to figure it out. Just remember, like, you've not tried all of the options. There's still something else out there. You've got to be resourceful. Okay. The opposite of giving up too soon, number 3, is staying with something too long. Your ego holds on and it doesn't want to say publicly, this wasn't a good idea. So you just keep trying to make it work and trying, and it's just not working, right? Maybe it's a product. Maybe it's an employee you've been holding on to, like, oh, she's going to get it 1 more year and he's going to be just fine, right? Sometimes you have to just like call it what it is, right? And just maybe this isn't a right fit. Maybe this isn't the right product. Maybe this isn't the right price, right? So you've got to really assess. Number 2, number 3 are tricky because you have to ask yourself, like, have I given it everything I can? Right. And I just told you, it's like, you're never going to be able to say that, but you've got to make sure you're actually making pivots and twisting and trying and tweaking and refining and all of the things. So and ask yourself, like, what part of this is ego? Right. Okay. Number 4, being a perfectionist. So we had somebody in Well-Oiled recently, and she's like, I need to make money now. I'm like, okay. So we were coming up with all of these different strategies. And I came up with this like email strategy. And she said, I actually have that email sitting in draft mode right now in my inbox. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, that's crazy. Like, I just came up with this idea that's going to make you money. And you already thought of the idea and you have it written. This is amazing. Hit send. And she's like, well, I'm just going to like review it a couple more times. Like, no. You've got to stop slowing yourself down. You need to make money as soon as possible. You have the email that we both agreed is going to make you money. You just got to hit send. You just got to like push it and go for it. Now, maybe you have a typo. Maybe you said something you could have said better. Doesn't matter. You won't know until you hit send, right? And that is so many times the problem is just business owners don't have enough data because they're waiting for perfection, but perfection is slowing them down, right? I want the data. I want to hit send so I can see, does it work? Does it not? So as I'm recording this week, we are promoting something. Okay. I'm not going to say it here because it'll be over by the time you hear it, but we're promoting something and we're promoting it with ads. We're promoting it on the podcast at the time you'll be hearing like a couple weeks ago, that episode. We're promoting it with an email, with a text message, all the things. Okay. And we had like a really big influx with a training we did. And then it was just kind of like steady. And then all of a sudden I went to my, I was in my ClickFunnels portal and we had a crazy day of sales. And I was like, hold up, stop. What's happening? Like, I need to know what is going on because we're exploding today in sales and I don't know why. Right. And the reason I share this is because I had a lot of ways of promoting it. In some ways really weren't doing anything, but I wouldn't know until I just hit send. Right. So it was actually an email that did really well, which is not my norm. Now I'm like, oh, I should email a little bit more. Like that worked really well. I'm emailing once a week, but it must have just been a very good open sentence or something. There was something in that email that really sparked sales, but I wouldn't have known without hitting send. Just like I was telling my client, you just got to hit send. And here's the thing, you and I might be wrong about this strategy. It's possible it's actually not as good as we think it is. We won't know until we hit send, right? So how is your perfectionism slowing down your business? Okay. Number 5, not asking for what you want. It might be the sale, the upsell, the referral, maybe the salary, the pay, your employee request X, right? And maybe there's something in there that you haven't asked them specifically, right? But like, just like saying it instead of hiding it, thinking people know, right? Or thinking it's too much to ask, or I could never ask for a referral. Like that just feels like so, or asking for the sale, like actually asking her for the sale. I was kind of waiting for her to suggest buying, right? You just got to ask for what you want. People don't know what you want, right? I'm surprised how many people will say to me, how'd you get on this person's podcast? I'm like, oh, I just asked them. Funny. Like, how did I get on the podcast? Well, I shot them an email or I sent them a DM and they said yes. But what's funny is there's a lot of people that have said no to me or just haven't said anything to me. You don't know about it. You just see the yeses, right? The no's are not public information a lot of times, but yet we're still afraid of what is that one person going to think? What is that one person going to say? There's no harm. Just ask for what you want. Number 6. Okay, I'm going to go a little deeper on this one. Sticking to your policies when they don't make sense. I love systems. I think we all need them. I think contracts are great because it just says like, hey, I'm going to do this. You promise to do that. We're both on the same page. We all just know all the things, right? But sometimes we do put policies in place that don't make sense and it ends up turning into horrible customer experiences. So I will never forget, like this was maybe 4 years into business. I had this client who had been with me from the start. Okay. And we had this policy. I'm probably going to get it wrong now because it's been like at least 15 years ago, but we had this policy about like how you could cancel and like when you had to cancel by to not be charged and all the things. Okay. And I think this person who had been with me forever was like a raving fan, referred people left and right, was just like the nicest mom. Her daughter wanted to all of a sudden cancel out of nowhere. And it was nothing to do with us. It was like maybe like daughter wanted to start taking soccer or something. So mom's just like, hey, Stacy, no big deal, but we just need our money back because you charged us, but we're actually not going to continue. Even though the policy was like, you have to give us like a 30-day notice or cancel before we charge you, all the things, right? So I just say to her, hey, just so you're aware, like you actually have to cancel before. Okay. Like you already did it. We charged you, but we don't refund it, right? This mom got so livid, so livid with me, turned into not a raving fan, turned into like probably somebody who bashed us for many years. She could not believe that I would not do something as simple as just like, hey, no problem. You've been here for 4 years. You've been literally referring us to everybody. If I could have gone back and just been like, here's your $30. It was $30, $30. If I could go back today and be like, no problem, here you go. All right. Well, thanks you guys. It's been amazing. We've been loving to get to know you like over the last 4 years. Here's what would have happened. That woman would have kept referring me for many years to come. She may even have come back Because guess what? In my space, kids go play soccer and then they're like doing cartwheels on the soccer field. And mom's like, okay, she's clearly a dancer. Let's put her back in dance. I lost her and I lost whoever she would have referred or told. Like, I can't even fathom how much money that stupid policy. And you guys, I was so small at the time. It wasn't even like a team of people. It was me. It was me just clicking a button saying, here's your money back. Right now, I experienced this recently in Disney World and I was so turned off, especially for a company that preaches nobody has customer experience like Disney World, right? Like Disney has this reputation, this brand. So anyway, we now own a home in Florida and I am shocked, but that actually counts as Florida residency. Even though we live in Wisconsin, we vacation in Florida, we do not live there. Okay. But they don't care. They just want to see that you own this home and that they want proof that you own this home. So I was able to buy these amazing Florida resident tickets. I was very excited. I prepaid for them like 6 months in advance because you still have to make reservations, all the things. Okay. So I ended up spending like $1,600, maybe a little bit more for the 4 of us. And I call ahead of time to say, hey, how do I do this? And actually somebody said, oh, you can do it right online. I'm like, perfect. So I go to do it online. It's not there. I call back and they're like, actually, that person was wrong. Sorry. Here's how you actually have to do this. So you need to bring certain documents. Please make sure to do this. So I get the list and I bring my heating bill. That's what they want. They want a heating bill within 2 months. I'm like, okay. So I get to Florida. I am at Epcot, like trying to enter Epcot. And I go to the counter to give them my heating bill. And she's like, perfect. Well, you're all set. And then she's like, okay, so what do you have proof of Kent? How does Kent own this house? And she's like, he's not on the heating bill. And I'm like, well, we're married. We're like, clearly we're here with our 2 children. We have the same last name, the same address on our license. We're married. Like we both own the home. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's our policy. We are actually can't give him Florida residency like status. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So then I was like, hold up. Actually, good news. I actually have my closing documents in my email. I can show you proof that Kent owns the house. She was like, and now think about it, guys. I am showing you my heat bill that is 30 days old, that I clearly own this house. And now I'm showing you proof that Kent and I both own it. Not good enough for Disney World. I have to have him on the heat, the insurance, something. I had no opportunities. So their solution was, we'll just buy a ticket for him. Now, we were going to Epcot at 6:30 p.m. The only reason we were doing that is because we don't have to pay for like the day. We have this annual pass. Who would go to Epcot at 6:30 at night to go there for a couple hours and pay a full price of a day? Nobody, right? So that was basically their amazing customer service. Now, the story gets better, and I really stick with me because this just to show you like how many errors there is in this. First of all, she should have been able to fix this. Now, I said to her, I'd like to speak to your manager. I get it. She can't break policy. I totally get it. She cannot break this policy, but your manager can break this policy. Like for sure. Come on. Like, right. The manager would not break the policy. So I was livid. I paid, I think $176 or something crazy for Kent to go into Epcot for 3 hours. Okay. Then we're in the park, we're doing things. And my sister's like, oh, I have to run to customer service to do something. And she's like, you should come with me. Actually, yeah, it was just like, oh, come with me. We'll quick do this. And Kent ran somewhere else. I think he was like getting a drink or something. So Jamie and I go to the desk. It's a totally different desk with totally different people. And this guy is just like the nicest guy. So anyway, Jamie's like, you need to ask him. Like, he's your guy. Like, he's going to break the policy. Like, this is it. Right. So sure enough, they will break the policy. They believe the closing docs are just fine. The heating bill's just fine. Get Kent over here. And it's so funny because I text Kent, I go, get over here fast. They're going to do it for you. And he's like, I don't even want to know what you said to them because he thought I was being so crazy at the front. Because I was so mad. I literally was livid. I couldn't believe they wouldn't do that. Right. And then here's the worst part. This is why I want to share both parts of the story. I was actually even more upset that they did break the policy because now I know the manager at the other place could have done it, just chose not to. So now it tells me, right, that it's like, I could just go on and on, right? So do you see how like the one experience could have been, we walked in, got our Florida resident passes, walked in and was like, this is amazing. I can't believe we just got to do all this, right? Like jump in. Nobody jumps in at 6:30 at night to just enjoy it, but we can, right? Like so cool. No, we were so turned off by day one of that experience. And then even more upset that they actually like let us do that. Now it's what's even crazier. I was like, you really expect me to pay $176 for him to come in? And she's like, don't worry, they'll refund you when you prove that he's a resident. And I was like, fine. So when I say to the lady, this is so nice of you, thank you so much, here's my receipt to refund me. She's like, oh, we do not refund. She's like, we never refund. There's no way he would get a refund. I was like, she's still working, I'm sure. Like, right. So they were like, no worries, we will refund you, but like, we don't do that. So it's like, oh my gosh. And they lied, right? So all the things. My point here is, do you see how like the distaste in my mouth? We are doing that to our customers. And guess what? I'm not going to be referring people to go do XYZ when I'm having such a bad experience with it, right? So how much is it costing you to stick to your policy? All right, that was a long one, but it was worth it. Okay, number 7, don't overcomplicate things. I'm gonna say that one again for myself today. Don't overcomplicate things. You're making the business harder than it needs to be, okay? It really isn't about adding more. It's about removing at a scaling stage, okay? Removing. I have removed quite a few things from my calendar, our product suite, a lot of different things where I've said, make this simpler, make this cleaner. We don't need this anymore. We've let go of certain contractors. Like, this isn't working. Let's be done. Let's end our contract, right? So as we keep right now, we just keep making more money every month. And if I could show you the list of, like, people want to say to me, oh, what are you guys doing? It's not even about what I've added last month. It's, well, I got rid of this. I got rid of that. I stopped doing this. I stopped doing that, right? Those things are really adding up. But our brain wants to say, we need more. We're not doing enough, okay? So I have taken on some pretty large projects in the month of March. And I was doing my planning for April, and I publicly said to the team, I am not taking on one project in the month of April. I have so much from March that I need to clean up and make better. Adding a new project would not serve the company at all. But how many times are you doing something? I feel like I did a mediocre job at a few things in March. And the reason I'm not adding projects is because I want to go make those mediocre things even better. Okay. So one of those things is we have our big 3-day conference that's happening in March, our Well-Oiled Operations Live. Now, I will say it was mediocre for myself. Okay. That is not the reaction of people that attended. Okay. But again, the perfectionist in me comes out, right? I know I can do so much more at that conference. I am redoing the conference live at the end of April. To me, I would rather retake on the exact same project and get to do like round 2 and beef it up. And there were so many things I was like, oh, I could have said this and I could added this. And like, I just have so many ideas to make it better that will serve me so much more than new project, new promotion, new marketing. No, just enhance, just refine. Okay. So many times it's just like boring to do that. But man, I'm telling you, when I take my mediocre, and I turn that from like a B to an A, that's when we have explosive months, right? Now, a lot of times people are just having that B quality work and they never refine it to get to an A. And the B quality work, like, it's good. I mean, it's decent. B's not bad, right? But man, until you experience what the A feels like, you will not settle for B's. Okay. So that is a big one. Number 8, not understanding opportunity cost. If I had to tell you how much money I have lost because of not understanding opportunity cost, I would say it is in the several millions of dollar category. Okay. So let me just give you a story to show you what I mean. So I was just talking to somebody who said, I'm going to keep this person around for a little bit longer and it was going to cost her $2,000. And she's like, it's only costing me $2,000. Like, no big deal. Opportunity cost is, but what if you replace that person with somebody better and that person made the company 10,000 this month? Okay. So let me just repeat that. Our brains think, man, that stinks. This person is costing me 2,000. I just lost 2,000 on them. But the opportunity cost is the better opportunity was to have an A player in that person's role and that person generating way more than the other person. So now that 2,000 could be like 10,000, right? So even I think sometimes like I was going to learn from this one mentor and then something didn't work out, timing didn't work out. And I decided I'm not going to do it right now. Okay. And then I did it like a year later. I am thinking, oh, so it cost me $1 million to not work with that person a year ago. Does that make sense? I just didn't do it. So it didn't cost me anything. But what it cost me was the $1 million extra, if not way more, I could have earned by knowing what I now know. If I would have joined 3 years ago, oh my goodness, it could have been a few million a year, right? So what is the opportunity cost? Like when somebody comes and they're in the beginning stages of their business, like under the 100K mark, right? In annual revenue. And maybe you're 3 years in and you're still at the 100K, but the beginning stages of like growth, right? And they're debating like, maybe I'll just do this on my own for a little bit longer. It's like, but it takes you so long to learn it on your own, right? Learning it on your own, it could be years. It could be, I sometimes you may never find out about it, right? So for instance, if you listen to my podcast often, you probably know what key performance indicators are. Okay. Maybe though, at some point, there was a time you had never heard that phrase ever. So we call that unconscious incompetence. Like you don't even know what you don't know. So when somebody says like, I'll just try to like figure this out on my own for a little bit, you will never figure out what you don't know about. When you hear the phrase KPIs, you're like, oh, what's KPIs? Let me Google it, right? Now you start to learn about it. But if you don't hear certain phrases, you're never going to learn it. So for me, the opportunity cost of not joining a certain program at the time, like I joined lots of programs. It depends on what I need, what I'm looking for, what skill set I want to bring on, what knowledge I want. I mean, it's always different at all different times, right? I'm actually finishing up a few programs now, and I'm already thinking like, my question is, it's not even like, who do I want to mentor with? I'm like, what's the next skill set I need in my business? When you say it like that, you're like, oh, it's just like a different way, right? And like, what skill set am I not that good at right now? And what is it costing me to not be that good? So one of the skill sets I feel like I'm getting just so much better at in the last, I would say 12 to 18 months is selling and managing, creating, like building a sales team. I still have a lot to do, but I'm way, way, way better. Okay. But that was a skill set I said, I need to know this. I can't keep saying, I don't have time. I have to learn this strategy, right? I have to learn this skill set. Like it is something really, really important for me in my business. So I'm always asking myself, right? What is the opportunity cost of you not learning how to hire? I had a friend that just said, like, just tell me, like, she's like, I'll buy your program if you want, but just tell me, like, could I really just like hire an agency and be fine and not like need your program? And I know that's hard to say because it's like, you'd be losing money by saying that. And I'm like, listen, I don't need your money. First of all, like I literally don't need her money. Okay. And I said, here's the deal. You not learning how to hire and you just keep using agencies. First of all, you're paying a premium for them to do it. So how much are you losing every time you use them from now on? Extra, because you don't have that skill set. The other thing I said to her was, here's the worst part. There's some amazing agencies out there. There are some not amazing agencies out there. And when they bring you a bad, like a not great, like a C player, and you don't know that they're a C player, how much does it cost you to keep that person on payroll as somebody who's an expense, not a revenue generator? And then guys, think about it. So let's say you pay this person 50,000. Oh my gosh. The sun is like hitting this sweater. If you can see me in person, and I am like a disco ball on this podcast. You have to look on YouTube. So, You're thinking, well, I paid her 40,000, right? Like that's what it cost me. No, because if you brought on somebody for maybe, it could even just be still somebody for 40,000, but she brought the company in 80,000. It didn't cost you 40, it cost you 80, right? That's the part that we don't get. So you've got to ask yourself, like me thinking I don't have time to hire, I don't have time to train, I don't have time to learn that skill set. I mean, the team is what's making me millions and millions and millions. If it was just me, I would not be making 7 figures a year. I mean, I'd have to work round the clock to make 7 figures a year on my own. I can do it because I'm multiplying my time by my team. Okay. Number 9, going off of emotions and feelings instead of facts, evidence, and real data. Holy cow, this is a big one. People sabotage all the time. Can I just tell you something that I did? I'm telling you, these are horrible mistakes and I'm still doing some of them and I have to like whip myself back into shape. All right, let me fix that a little bit. Okay, so the week I'm recording this, okay, so Monday, I'm like feeling great. It's Monday morning. We've got the team meeting. I'm like telling them the big goals for the week. Then like Monday at like noon, I'm like, oh, this feels off. Like this funnel feels off. So now I'm like, oh my goodness, we're broken. This funnel is broken. The week is not going to be what I thought it was. Okay. And then all of a sudden, we just had like a crazy amount of consults come in out of a different platform or method. Okay. And then I was like, oh my goodness, we're back up again. Right now, I actually was using data and I still had the emotions. I'm going to do a whole podcast on this. So that is coming. Okay. But what I mean by that is don't go like, give it time for the data to perform. Like I literally on Monday was like, man, this week is not going to be good. It was Monday at like 3:00. And I had already determined the week was over. The week ended up being just fine. Okay. So I don't want anybody just like letting their emotions take over. Now let's actually talk about just like not looking at the numbers, but feeling things. So I had a team member tag me in a post, like they do reports at the end of the day. All of our reports and everything are inside of Well-Oiled's operations. So for any clients listening, you have access to all of this. So they end of day report. Okay. And they were like, something was low. And I'm like, what? Nope. What was low? What number? What was the number? And what is it usually? What percentage are you down? I was like, no, it's just like lower. No. Nope. I don't even know what that means. Your low might not be my low, right? So I need to hear numbers. Now, I teach this all the time and people, now my clients like know to do this. And it was funny because somebody had said to one of my clients, like a receptionist, like, we're getting so many drops. Like, oh my goodness, I don't know what's happening, but lots of drops this week. And she was like, how many? And she's like, I don't know, like a lot. It's like, no. Like, go check real quick and give me. And then she comes back. She's like, oh, actually, I guess there was just 2. It just felt like a lot. It's like 2 is not a lot, but you let your emotions go like, everybody's dropping, everybody's quitting. Oh my goodness, right? No. What's the real fact? Okay. But then like, I kind of like the next part of that is like, give the fact, like give it time. Monday at 3:00 cannot diagnose a week, not when it's ending on Friday, right? So don't go off of feelings and emotions. Things like people will say things like, I don't know, I feel like we're just like down a little bit. I don't know if like this September feels a little off compared to last September. I'm like, oh, what was last September? I don't know. It just feels like kind of off. I'm like, well, give me the data for this September and then get me the data for last September. And then they'll go, oh, we're 20 people bigger. Yep. Your feelings mean nothing. Your feelings mean nothing without the evidence, without the facts. We do not go off of that. Okay. I will tell you when you're like, yeah, it does feel off. I thought we felt a little low too. You like all go into freak out mode and then you start reacting differently because you're in freak out mode when the reality is you're 20 clients bigger than last year. This is amazing. Like you're good. So a lot of times we have seasonal business, not season. Well, I would say seasonal, like every single month really looks like the year prior. So my September, I like to judge the last September. I don't like to look at September and August. August is not like, especially my studios, August is a very low month compared to September. September is like a big push. So I'm not like, oh, we're way bigger than August. Amazing. No. I'm like, here's where we're at September. Where were we last September? I'm like, oh, wow, look at the progress here. right? So sometimes we're tracking the wrong data, which is also throwing us off. Okay, last one. This is the biggest and the best I saved for last. Here's what I've learned. You can't scale broken. So I guess the fatal mistake would be trying to scale broken. I just gave this analogy in a class about like picture a brick wall and picture a massive crack in the middle. And you say things like, I just don't have time to hire this person right now. I'm just gonna like add a few more bricks. Pretty soon though, I'm gonna hire that person, but I'm just gonna add a few more bricks, right? And then like, I don't really have the money to spend on this now. So let me just keep doing this. I'll just add a few more bricks and we'll fix that problem later too. But what happens is the crack does not go away. It just gets bigger. And at some point you have to stop and fix it. So you got to do it now, right? Like don't wait. Delaying is not going to help you. Now, another thing I want you to understand is if you're trying to scale the business and it feels very hard and very heavy, it's probably broken, which is why you can't scale it. So scaling is when you've got everything, like you are a well-oiled machine. Like it is a well-oiled operation. You've got the marketing piece dialed in, right? You're selling, you've got a great product. People are buying more of it. They're referring people, they're renewing all the things, right? The customer lifetime value is increasing. You've got the back end going smoothly. When things are good, you say, let's add fuel to the fire. Okay. But scaling a broken business is like having logs and you're putting gas and you're like, why isn't it growing? Why aren't the flames like happening? Because you need a flame, like you need the spark first. And I see people trying to scale with no spark. So they're pouring gas on marketing, but they don't have a great product yet. So no one's buying it. Or they have a good marketing system and they get people to buy, but no one is referring and no one's rebuying because it's not a great product. So if you don't, that's why we teach marketing, fulfillment, and operations inside of the program, because you need all three of them to be well-oiled. Like there is zero chance you will be well-oiled without all three of them. If you have a problem area, you will feel it in the business, right? Because you might have a great product, but you're like, where are the leads? Why aren't we getting anybody, right? So the marketing just isn't fueling it. You might have a great marketing plan and you are losing people like crazy. You will feel it as well. You might have great marketing and a great product, but the team is not like, there might be massive turnover, right? You might be having people just inconsistency because there's no systems. It will hurt your business. So you really have to make sure before you attempt to scale, you've got to build it. You've got to get it like well-oiled. You've got to get it situated so that when you finally go, okay, we're here. And it's not like you're magically here. I'm doing air quotes. It's like, okay, we're in a place where we can start to scale, but there's always like, I'm right now in well-oiled, like I do my own program. And as we're at this level, I'm like, okay, we're doing it, but we're entering a new level and we're going to have to well-oil this whole thing. We're going to need new systems. We're hiring a lot of new people right now. Like we will break everything and restructure it on our way to 10 million, right? So what got us to 1 million to right multiple millions is not the same thing that's going to get us to 10. And I can't scale broken pieces of the business. I've got to fix it first before I can move on. All right. That is your 10 fatal mistakes. I'm going to quickly recap them. Solving problems that don't exist yet, giving up too soon, staying with something too long, being a perfectionist, not asking for what you want, sticking to your policies when they don't make sense. Disney World, I'm still mad at you. Don't overcomplicate things, not understanding opportunity costs, going off of emotions and feelings instead of facts, and you can't scale broken. I want you to think about which one are you totally doing right now that you're guilty of? I have a couple in there still, okay? Which one are you struggling with and how can we fix that now? All right, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I will see you very soon. Bye, everyone.